You know, all these people is clamoring for war. Any little thing, war, war, war. Let's fight. Any little thing. You know, highest third world war. Hey, hey. Be careful what you wish for. Hmm. Maybe we should go and ask the people of Samaria what was it to them. Hey guys, welcome to Fun Bible Stories, and today we'll be talking about the siege of Samaria. This story, I don't even know. I find it both funny, educative, and eventful. So there was a war between the people of Samaria and Syria. So the people of Syria had besieged the city of Samaria. They surrounded all their entrance gates of the city, They were terrorizing Samaria, and this had caused serious famine in Samaria. There was serious hunger in the land. And one day the king was passing along the city wall when a woman started beckoning on him. The woman was calling out to the king, and the king asked her what was it, that if God cannot help her, that he was not going to be able to help her. And then when the king now gave the woman attention, that's how the woman narrated the most funny story I've ever heard. You know what her complaint was? That her neighbor met her and told her to bring her son, let them kill him and eat him, since there was hunger in the land. That after they had eaten her own son, she was going to bring her own son, let them do the same thing, to kill him and eat him. And that was how she brought her son, and they killed the son and ate the son. Now it's time for the neighbor to bring her own son so that they will eat her son, and she has refused to bring her son. She even went to hide the boy. Hey, are you kidding me? You guys are not eating your children. But anyway, that's what famine can cause. That can be, the effect of war. The king, upon hearing this, he was so sad. Like, he got so infuriated. He tore his robe and he wore sackcloth. And there and then he decided that he was going to kill the prophet. He said, how can there be a prophet in this land and they are going through all of this calamity? So he now sends one of his guards to go and kill the prophet. Elisha, who was the prophet of Israel at the time, sensed it in his spirit that the king was coming to kill him. So he was now gisting the people he was with that, sure, you have seen this your king. He has sent someone to come and kill me now. Please, when this guy gets here, lock the doors, lock the gates, don't allow him to come inside. And just immediately as he was just telling the people, the guy arrives. And behind him was the king. So maybe he doesn't even trust the person he sent, because maybe he just looked at it that this guy might not kill this prophet. Let me even go with him. As the king arrived, Elisha, who already knew why they were there, just started speaking and prophesying. And he told the king that by this time tomorrow, there's going to be so much food in the land. There's going to be abundance of supply, that 1 bushel of fine flour will be sold for 1 shekel, and 2 bags of barley will be sold for 1 shekel. Like he's just saying that a bag of rice will be sold for 100 naira, as Elisha was just saying what he had heard from the Lord. The king's right hand man, who he went with, now said, how is this even possible? Even if God opens heaven and he's raining down food for us, how is it possible that there is going to be so much supply that we're going to sell it at this ridiculous amount? And Elisha told him, you'll be around to see this thing happen tomorrow, but you're not going to partake from it. Because why are you even doubting? It's not your place to reason for God how he's going to do it. It's his word. He already said you are going to have food tomorrow. Your own is just to believe. While this was happening, there were 4 lepers that were begging at the city gate. Hunger don't mama those guys. Like, they were so hungry that they just thought to themselves, there is no food for us to eat here. If we stay here, we're going to die of hunger. If we enter inside our city back, we're still going to die of hunger eventually, because there is no food. And they decided to go to the military camp of Syria, like where the soldiers camped, the soldiers that came to fight them there in Samaria. I think that's serious risk, but they did, because if they succeed and they see food there, they will eat. But if they get there and the guys kill them, all die and die, they're going to die eventually. So, and that's how these 4 guys set out to go to the camp of the enemy. The Bible said while they were on their way, God amplified their footsteps. Now, the soldiers at the other end, they were not hearing 4 lepers crawling to them. They were hearing sounds of chariots and horses, like a large army was coming to fight them. So they said, it's like the king of Israel has gone to hire mercenaries come and fight us. So let's take to our heels now that we can still escape. And that was how the soldiers at the camp left, and they left everything the same way it was. Their food, they didn't even try to carry anything. They were just more interested in running for their dear lives. And that's how these four guys got there, and there was food everywhere. Not just food, there were even goodies, because these guys, even they ate to their satisfaction. They were now picking gold and silver to go and hide, because what's that? And while they were doing that, they thought to themselves that this thing we are doing is not good though. Today there is a good day, now we have seen food to eat. Please, let's go back to the city and announce to everybody that we saw food here, and that the Syria army, they are no longer here, they can come and eat. So they went back into the city and they met the king, and they just told the king what had just happened, that we don't chop tire, our belly don't full. And the king felt that this was a trap. These guys can't just leave. I mean, they have been here, we've been dying of hunger. How can they just up and leave like that without anything? Maybe they are hiding somewhere and just waiting for us to come out so that they can kill us. And these four lepers made a bargain with the king. You know what? Just send a few men to that their camp with the remaining horses and chariots. If these guys die, they were going to still die eventually if they remain inside the city. But if they succeed, other people will have food to eat. I'm sure the king thought about it. Okay, what do I have to lose? Because all die and I die. And then he sends the guys. So when these guys got to the camp, they discovered that there was no person there and there was food. And they came back and announced to the king that truly the Syrian army, they fled the city and there is plenty food. There was plenty food that it was sold just the way the prophet said. You know what happened? The king made his right hand man in charge of the sharing, sell it evenly so that everybody can eat. Now this is the guy that doubted this prophecy when Elisha gave it, and he was asking how is it possible that even if God rains food from heaven, it's not possible that it's going to be sold at this amount. So the king puts him in charge. But because the people were so hungry, and upon hearing this news, everybody wanted to run to the camp at the same time, there was a stampede. And that was how these people marched this guy, and of course he couldn't survive it. They marched him to death during the stampede, and that was how he saw this marvelous thing that had just happened, and he couldn't partake of it because he doubted it. And this brings us to the end of FBS today. Like I said, quite a funny, eventful story. I'll be in the comment section to hear what you've learned after we've shared what I have learned from this story. It doesn't take God anything to turn around this situation. I mean, these people have been dying of hunger. It took God just 24 hours to change the story of the whole economy, and there was more than enough food for everybody. So you see, it doesn't matter what that situation is, or how long you think it has lingered, or how big you think it is. It will not take him anything to change that situation. I also learned that, you see those lepers at the gate. Tell me about taking risk. If I perish was a person, it will be those four lepers. In life you have to take certain risks. Those guys stood up and they were going to the military camp of the city. What were they thinking? Imagine if those guys were there. Just a fling of hand that they would just use to kill all of them. But they decided to go because all die and I die. I mean, sometimes you really need to take some certain risk here. And you see, it ended up turning out for good, because when they got there, there was nobody there to kill them. Instead, they had enough food to eat. Last but not the least, that woman, they should give that woman degree in cornatis. That woman that went to go meet her neighbor that, let's kill your own child today and eat tomorrow. I will bring my child, I will kill him and eat. My point is, this is your idea. You were the one who sat down and you thought about this thing. Why didn't you kill your own child first? Let's eat your child, then tomorrow I can now kill my own child. Why does it have to be mine? And the one that they now deceived, hey God, see, be careful who you listen to. And that's how, at the end of the day, her own son didn't die because there is now food to eat, and you cannot tell her to bring her son, let two people eat it. Oh my God. And don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Until I see you in the next episode, keep reading your Bible. Bye now.